Have you ever stepped out after a stressful few weeks hoping to unwind and have some fun, only to find yourself caught in the crosshairs of someone with sinister intentions? In today's story, we'll explore a chilling reminder of why staying vigilant during a night out is crucial, because letting your guard down can have serious consequences. But before we dive into the tale, a quick reminder. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel get discovered and supports what I do. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. It had been a long semester, and after weeks of stress, sleepless nights, and the grind of finals, my friends and I finally had a reason to celebrate. A few drinks, some laughter, and a break from the chaos of studying seemed like the perfect remedy. We headed out to a local bar, excited to finally let loose. Little did I know, the night would end with me questioning if I would ever make it home. The bar was packed, but it felt good to be surrounded by familiar faces. My friends were already a few drinks in, and I had just barely got my first. The pulsing music, flashing lights, and the hum of chatter made it easy to forget the stress of school, but there was something off about the night. As the hours passed, I noticed a man sitting next to me, someone who hadn't been there when I first arrived. He looked to be in his late 30s with a cold, distant eyes that seemed to look right through me. He leaned in, his voice low. "You look like you could use another drink." He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Let me get you one." I opened my mouth to politely decline, but before I could, the bartender slid a drink in front of me, one I hadn't ordered. I turned back to look at the man, but he was already turning away, as if the exchange had meant nothing. A sense of unease settled over me. Something wasn't right, but I didn't want to seem rude. My friends were dancing and I didn't want to spoil the mood. So I picked up the drink, but as soon as I brought it to my lips, something made me pause. The taste was wrong, bitter and harsher than the drink I had ordered before. The warning bells in my head were loud, but I couldn't bring myself to toss it. Maybe it was the stress of finals weighing on me, or the fear of seeming ungrateful, but that hesitation would be my second mistake of the night. I made my way to the dance floor, hoping to shake off the tension and enjoy myself. The music throbbed through my chest, and I took a sip, hoping the rhythm would settle my nerves. But the world around me began to blur. The lightheadedness wasn't just from the alcohol. It was from something else, something stronger. I stumbled toward a nearby table, clutching my drink, my hand trembling. I wasn't much of a drinker, but 2 drinks shouldn't have done this to me. Before I could even process what was happening, the man appeared again. His presence was strangely commanding. He leaned in close, a faint smile on his lips. "Care to dance?" he asked. I forced a smile, trying to ignore the growing unease in my stomach. "Not feeling well, maybe later," I mumbled, struggling to keep my balance as I stood on shaky legs. The restroom wasn't far, but each step felt heavier than the last as I moved toward the door, desperate for a moment of clarity. Once inside, I grabbed my phone to text a friend, but my hands were shaking so badly that I dropped my phone. The tremors were worsening. Panic began to rise in my chest. This wasn't normal. I was in serious trouble. And that's when I knew I had to find my friends and get out of there. As I stepped back into the main area, I saw him again. The man who had been hovering around me all night. He smiled, but it was wrong. Too wide, too eager. "It's time to go home," he said, his voice smooth. "You've had too much to drink. Let's get you some fresh air." I tried to protest, but the words tangled in my throat. My mind was sluggish, my thoughts slipping in and out of focus. And before I could react, he had his arm around me, guiding me to the door. I tried to pull away, but my limbs felt like they weren't my own, weak and unresponsive. This wasn't just a friendly gesture. He wasn't trying to help me. I wanted to scream, but my voice wouldn't work. As we got to the door, the air outside was sharp, but it did nothing to clear the fog in my brain. I tried to pull away again. "Leave me alone," my voice shaky and slurred as I managed to get out. His grip tightened, cold and unyielding. That's when a voice rang out from the shadows. "Leave her alone, asshole." The man froze, his head snapping towards the voice. His grip on me loosened just enough for me to stagger back. For a moment, he stared at the source of the voice, weighing his options. Then, without a word, he turned and disappeared into the night. I stood there shaky, my heart hammering in my chest. I turned to see who had spoken. A bouncer, tall and built like a brick wall, stood nearby, his gaze sharp and protective. He looked me over quickly, his voice steady. "Are you alone?" I barely managed to stammer out, "No, I have friends inside." His next question hit hard. "Do you know that man?" I shook my head, panic still crawling through my veins. "No." Without a word, he escorted me back inside, making sure no one approached us as we gathered my things and found my friends. The entire time, his watchful eye never left me. The bar staff, seeing I wasn't in any condition to get home on my own, arranged for a cab. The rest of the night is a blur. The drugs took full effect, and I ended up sick. The next day, I kicked myself for being so careless, for letting my guard down enough to let me be in that situation. That night, I was lucky. If the bouncer hadn't been paying attention, I don't know what would have happened. I'm not sure if I would have made it out. To the bouncer who saved me, thank you. You probably saved my life. And to the man with evil intentions, let's never meet again. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, let me know by leaving the word bounce in the comments. It's always a great way to see who sticks around. Also, if you have enjoyed the content, I would appreciate it if you thought of subscribing. As for the story, I always wondered if the bartender was helping the man or if the guy somehow managed to spike the drink that quickly. But no matter how cautious you think you are, there's always someone just as watchful, waiting to exploit any slip. Stay safe out there, and until next time, take care. I hope to see you again soon.